Handling legal matters is stressful. So, let the law offices of Frank Bruno Jr. provide you with the insightful counsel you deserve. The law offices of Frank Bruno Jr. has successfully handled thousands of cases for 25 plus years. They focus on elder law and estate planning, but are equipped to navigate you through all stages of family law and divorce to real estate law and probate. The law offices of Frank Bruno. Call 718-418-5000 or visit them at frankbrunolaw.com. That's frankbrunolaw.com. Frank Bruno. He's your numero uno.
You're listening to The Greg Kelly Show.
You know, something else that did not work, and he tried it. I don't know if it's a new line for Joe Biden, but he tried to call Trump a whiner. And Trump does not sound like a whiner. Does he? Never. Even when he's whining. Even if he's complaining about something, it just doesn't work. But he tried it again and again. Cut 17, please. Cut 17.
Well, let's see what your numbers are when this election is over. Let's see. You're a whiner. When you lost the first time, you continued, you appealed and appealed to courts all across the country. Not one single court in America said any of your claims had any merit, state or local, none. But you continue.
Hey, stop. You know, this is the part where he's getting his voice back. It did slightly improve. He went from like a low F to a slight D minus, I'd say. Mark Halperin joins us. Mark Halperin, the political analyst, so brilliant, knows all these guys, all the players. Mark, are you still in shock? How are you right now?
Well, I'm just looking at the Electoral College implications of Donald Trump versus Michelle Obama. I think that's where this is headed, Greg. No, just kidding.
Okay.
You and I joust about the question of Michelle Obama. Look, it's still a bifurcated world in the political community. I talk to many people who say, that's it, Biden's done. They say, I can't tell you the linear way he's off the ticket, but there's no way the Democrats would run him. And then I believe the smaller but currently accurate group is a group that says, look at Joe Biden's speech today in North Carolina. Did a rally, but he wasn't gangbusters, but far better than he was in the debate. And the message was basically, yeah, last night wasn't great, but I'm a fighter. I'm a truth teller. So nothing about the body language or words coming from the Biden camp suggests anything, but he's going to tough it out, try to get through the weekend, maybe into next week. And if the polls don't collapse, if the fundraising doesn't collapse, if the support in Congress doesn't collapse, basically say, I was an underdog before, I'm an underdog now, and I'm still with enough time left to win.
So they're just shrugging their shoulders. We got Thomas Friedman. President Biden is my friend. He must bow out. We got Nicholas Kristof. President Biden, it's time to drop out. Frank Bruni. Biden cannot go on like this. I mean, this is their beloved New York Times.
Greg, do you know what those two guys have in common? I mean, the two things those guys have in common?
Well, number one, I will say this before you have the smart and I'm sure correct answer. Yeah. They're read and the White House cares about what they write.
That's true. But the two other things they have in common, none of them are currently in Jamaica, and none of them have ever been elected to public office. Part of I think the gap here that causes these two groups, Biden must go versus Biden's going to stay. If you're not a practitioner of politics, if you're just somebody who's a spectator, whether you're a columnist or host of a popular WABC radio show, with all due respect, you think, well, it's easy to replace them. You just get somebody else in there. The practitioners, including the people around Biden, whose, of course, jobs depend on Joe Biden staying in office, they see it differently because they say, sure, Biden says he's going. Well, what about Kamala? And what about all these other people who want the job, by the way, none of whom are anywhere near as good as Donald Trump as running for president? So it doesn't mean they think Biden's ideal, but it does mean they think the alternative looks scary to them. And Biden, if the polls hold up, is still in hailing distance of Donald Trump, despite last night.
Well, practitioners generally work for somebody else, and practitioners generally are influential, but they don't have the final say. And it takes an outsider sometimes to see things and put things together and connect the dots. For instance, like me, who on June 16th...
Manhattan populist Greg Kelly.
June 16th, 2015, I said that Donald Trump will win the election. I said it on television. I said it to Access Hollywood. I was ridiculed. And so, the outside perspective is a valuable one.
I agree. But Greg, if I can just say, your perspective was valuable as an outsider because you were saying what the people are going to do. The people right now, I don't think are going to demand Joe Biden stop running. They already thought Joe Biden was not up to doing the job. The panic currently is not amongst the people. The panic currently is amongst the elites. And I think again, you're thinking, well, of course the elites can look at this and say he can't run. The elites are under pressure from the Biden political machine to stand in line. As far as I know, not one prominent Democratic elected official today has said, of course, he can't be the nominee. After what happened, you would expect some to do that. I see zero.
Well, let me ask you this. The people that you talked to, and you got great sources, and he was up there at Camp David with 16 or so. Half of them, quite frankly, helped Joe Biden, get out of Afghanistan in the manner he got out of. And the same team brought us this. That team, you're telling me, is confident. That team is telling you that they can weather this storm.
That team believes what their boss believes. Number one, that if he doesn't run, Kamala Harris will probably be the nominee and she'll lose worse. Number two, these other people, Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer, et cetera, are no match for Donald Trump in trying to start from a standing position and stand up a presidential campaign. And that group knows that their bread and butter, their salary, their political fortunes are tied to Joe Biden. So you ever walk into the office of your boss and say, hey, let's shut down WABC. Let's get rid of it. You're not good at running this station. Because then they cancel the Greg Kelly show. So,
well, guess what? Do me a favor. Pick another station. This is a great station from the top down. All right,
but that's why it's a hypothetical. I
understand.
My
but
point.
This is radically no. This is radically different. And Joe Biden is compromised. I mentioned this to people earlier. Joe Biden has multiple. His son is facing multiple issues. I think that he potentially could face multiple issues. There are a lot of people, and maybe we're naive, but maybe we take Barack Obama at his word when he says he would love to be behind the scenes pulling the strings. There's Barack Obama in Washington, D.C., hanging around with Susan Rice. This is not a traditional presidency. Something weird is going on that might even be beyond, some of the best political journalists with the best contacts may not have all the answers. So I don't know. I think there's another level to this that we're not yet seeing, but maybe we will. Isn't he worried about his post-presidency? You don't see anybody. You don't see Barack Obama pulling him inside and saying, Joe, it's over. Couldn't that happen? Is that beyond?
I doubt he would. But what Joe Biden would say, maybe not in so many words, if Barack Obama did that? What? F you. Barack Obama was talking about it running in 2016, which in Biden's view allowed Hillary to be the nominee and lose to Trump. Barack Obama and David Axelrod and David Plouffe, his henchmen, have shown no political love to Joe Biden, even when he was vice president of the United States. He's not interested in doing what Barack Obama tells him to do. He's interested in being president, his wife being first lady, being a two-term president. If the guy thought that he needed to put party above ambition, to put country above personal interest, he wouldn't have run in 16. In 20, he wouldn't have run in 24. So it's just because he had a bad debate doesn't mean his orientation towards what he values changes.
All right. One other thing on this. If Barack Obama had a talk with somebody at the FBI, because the FBI has been known to get very, very political and have very strange talks with presidents and presidents-elect. And so I think there's some subterfuge and that perhaps some folks aren't giving enough, just allowing that there could be something going on that we can't see and that maybe we don't even understand. Let's talk about something I know we agree about. What does this say? Is this a moment for the mainstream media? Like, they've been covering for this guy for years. They're seeing what I've been seeing all along, or the dam is broke, right? They were covering up for this guy. And now, why did they do that? Because these problems we saw last night, they were present before. Maybe not as bad, but they were there before, and they protected him.
Do you know how many pages long my book, The Manifestations of Trump Derangement Syndrome? Do you know how many pages that book is? It's a long book. I have been outspoken, having known Joe Biden for 3 decades. I've been outspoken about his decline. And I reported a month ago that several sources were telling me that his decline had gotten worse physically and mentally. And I have written and believe that the people who covered this up, who colluded with the media to make sure it didn't become a story, will have trouble in the history books for what they did. And the press has Trump derangement syndrome, and saying Biden has a problem risks helping Trump. And their whole orientation is to not help Trump. And I will say this. A lot of the coverage this morning in the media, in the mainstream media, what I call the dominant media, has been, well, Biden was doddering, but Trump lied a lot. Last night, Joe Biden stood on the stage and repeated the accusation that Donald Trump said neo-Nazis were very good people. It's just false. And it's been called out as false, and yet he still does it. Donald Trump said a lot of stuff that wasn't true as well. But my point is, it's not like the press is now saying, well, this proves we really need to be fair. We really need to rethink what we did. You won't read any acknowledgments in the New York Times tomorrow of, hey, we screwed this up. They're acting like this is some brand new thing.
It is wild.
They can't admit their mistake. It's like Russiagate. They can't admit the mistakes. It's too fundamental to their identity.
It is amazing. I wonder if it's fully sunk in. I just saw somebody on CNN talking to Nancy Mace. It happened to be Breonna Keeler, and she seemed to be acknowledging a few things, but I couldn't watch the whole thing. So I am surprised that this is not going to be a moment where they pivot. But I guess
it will be. We'll see.
No, maybe I shouldn't be. I mean, no, I think you're right about that. I think they're too. They won't give an inch. Well, Mark, it is amazing, your insight, your contacts, but this threw you for a loop, right? Let's face it.
Threw me for a little bit of a loop, but not a total loop. I said going in, I thought the most likely thing was a non-event, but doesn't surprise me. I do find it incredible, and again, history will write about this. 7 days at Camp David, giant staff of the most experienced debate prep experts in the history of America, literally, and this is what they were able to produce.
It is amazing. One last thing. You pointed this out first. There's a lot going on for Trump over the next couple of weeks. The convention, vice presidential selection, sentencing on July 11th. And by the way, I think this emboldens the judge to try to put him in jail. What does Biden do with this time? How is he going to, change the narrative, if you will? What does he do as he's going to be naturally eclipsed by Trump? I think you saw it in today. He's going to be saying, I'm a fighter. I get back down. I get knocked down. I get back up again. It's the wumba jumba message. So it's probably humbo jumbo. What's that thing called? Mumbo number 5.
Down. No. Your producer right in your ear. I get back down. I get knocked down. I get up again.
Oh, I get down and I get up again. No. It's
the Chumbawamba message. No. And look, they can't fight the convention. They just have to bracket it. The Veeps thing. They'll say the Veeps extreme, whoever it is. But we're heading to a period where it's going to be about Trump, which may be good for Biden because, generally whoever's in the news is the one who loses between these two guys.
Well, Mark Halperin, keep it up. Greg,
honored to be on. This is like twice in a few days.
Let's.
When can I get to be official sidekick? There's a song. Nice work, production team.
You know what? You're a partner. How about a partner, all right? No sidekick. We're a team.
Greg Kelly Show with the partner, Mark Halperin.
No, Batman and Robin. Who's Batman and who's Robin?
How about powered by Mark Halperin? The Greg Kelly Show.
All right.
Powered by Mark Halperin. Bye, Greg.
Bye. Take care. What a guy, huh? He's got all kinds of ideas and making all kinds of comparisons that we may not like, but we like a lot of them too. He's amazing. So, all right. We know that music. We know that song. Give me a call. What is our number again? 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. I'll be right back.
Greg Kelly.